On them obviously having the last possession, making the final shot. What made the difference for them tonight, you think?
I mean, I think, it was more than us. I didn't like the way we approached the start of the game. We kind of thought we could ease into it, and they jumped on us early. Thankfully, we were able to climb back and, tie the score at the end of the quarter. But, then we start the third the same way. So just our overall approach was, I thought, a little lackadaisical. And, it's just, you fighting human nature, I don't know, but we cannot look at anyone's record or, how many games they've lost in a row, whatever that may be. We're in no position to do that. So I think just our overall approach to start was not where it should have been.
Was that offense, defense, both?
Yeah, I think so. And then their switching gave us some issue. We kind of got static at times and lacked a little ball movement. I think we scored 111 points and had 18 assists. So we've seen the 30-plus assist nights, how that looks. And that's what, we aim to do every night. It's not going to happen. But we kind of fell into that, trying to play one-on-one a little too much.
What did you see on the fouls for Bradley Beal and kind of what changed about the approach after that?
Yeah, I mean, I could argue that they were bad calls. It's tough to say without watching the film. Those are very unfortunate because when it happens and it kind of takes your best player out of the game, maybe that affects his aggressiveness toward the rim. But not having him out there late is a huge loss.
When an opponent switches everything, how would you like to see your offense counteract that?
Well, we've seen it, and we've done a decent job at times where, you continue to keep energy in the ball, where it just doesn't become one-on-one. And we had some good moments where there's a secondary screen, there's a slip, and just that little bit of movement causes some confusion, and now it opens up driving lanes. But once you get into the paint, now you can make the appropriate reads. But trying to play one-on-one is difficult as it is. But when we stagnate him, I think we're helping the defense.
How did your team respond when Brad did foul out with a significant portion of time left?
No, I thought they responded well. I mean, you're trying to figure it out a little bit, playing small and, trying to stay afloat. But I give them credit that they kept fighting. We gave ourselves a chance. Obviously, we don't ever want to find ourselves in that type of situation, but we give ourselves a chance.
How tough is it strategically when you're just playing with six guys essentially down the stretch?
Well, it is what it is. I mean, it's never ideal, but it is difficult. Where you're trying to organize guys who are playing out of position, and you're trying to give them something that they can feel comfortable with, knowing the team's going to switch and take things away. So if you don't have a dominant offensive threat on the floor, then once again you have to move the ball.
I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to watch video of the final play. I assume you haven't. But your initial impressions, did you just see another excellent shot by an opponent there on Porter's three?
I thought it was well defended.
Yeah.
We talked about whether to go hit it and take the ball out of his hands, late. But we said, just trust the defender. And, it stinks because it seems to have happened a little too often in the last week or two. But I thought it was well defended. Made a tough shot.
I know the team said that Davis has a left ankle sprain. Or left foot sprain, excuse me. Have you talked to him, and how is he feeling? And how tough is that to see him go out, especially after the last couple of games?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard because once again, one of your rotation guys goes down, guy who stretches the floor for us, and he's made shots, shooting it much better as of late. So that part's frustrating. And you feel for him because he's a big part of what we do. I have not talked to him, just briefly. In the locker room before coming out here, and I don't know the severity of it, but I know he would have tried to play if he could. So I'm hoping it's not significant.
And you kind of mentioned the approach early on. I know you guys had 10 turnovers in the first half. Is there anything you can single out, you can point to and say that was kind of the problem early on?
No, I just thought didn't play with a lot of pop, a lot of energy. On either end, there were a lot of coverage mistakes. The lack of communication. But I think you combine all those things, and They were in attack mode. We knew that. So, 62 points in the paint. They shot 30 plus free throws. Obviously we were concerned about the three, but that all starts with the paint and the offensive rebounds. So it goes on and on and on. Those are areas that we talked about controlling, and we didn't do it tonight.
Just wanted to get your take on KCP's game and what allowed him to get going.
Well, I think he's we ask a lot of him on the defensive end, and he kind of finds his rhythm in the flow. Obviously, you can run things to target him, ATOs, and he's made big shots, all season. But I just like the way he approaches it. Where he thinks he doesn't press, he doesn't try to do too much. I know at times he gets frustrated because he feels like he's not quite involved as much as he should, but he finds his way. And I think when we play the right way, the ball finds him and he steps up and makes shots.
Sorry, Neil.
Hey, Coach, did you feel that your team potentially looked at the Rockets' record and thought that, okay, maybe we can just get this win easily, and that's maybe what contributed to the slow start and the loss?
I don't know that for certain. That's just my feel. I don't know if it was, looking at their record per se, but just, I think just overall mindset when you play teams that, have struggled. You think you can just ease your way into the game, and it'll just come easy. And I think you're setting yourself up when you do that.
Ava.
Hey Wes, when you guys are relying on dudes who have played a ton of minutes over the past couple of games just because of the shorthanded roster, what are ways that you try to tell your guys, here's how you can make things a little bit easier on yourself in games, and maybe is it about sticking with the defense and just not getting in a hole?
Well, I think you can start there because that's the one constant. That shouldn't change much. And we didn't do a very good job. Containing. I thought we allowed guys to play their strength at times, get downhill. And I give Houston credit; they're very aggressive, and they got to where they wanted to go. But I think you use film. You can't do a lot on your feet. Obviously, after a game like this where guys log heavy minutes, with a short rotation, we'll obviously be able to implement and reintegrate, some of the guys who are coming out of protocol, which is terrific. Gives you some reinforcements and core guys back. But for those guys who have logged heavy minutes, it's it's film, it's walkthroughs, it's group or individual, things that we can do. Just kind of keep hitting, keep teaching, so they can understand the why. Why things went the way they did, why we want to stay away from these situations. But it's just tough to do, live reps at this point.
And with those guys who have been, guys like Kuz and Corey, even who's been playing more minutes, do you and the coaching staff try to shave off minutes towards the end of the season if you can? Like, is there a way that you guys try to figure out how to balance that out over a season, or do you just kind of have to do what you have to do?
Well, this has been a tough stretch because we've been forced to kind of do what we have to do to stay afloat. When we're whole, we try to map out minutes. Not only per game and the rotation, sub pattern and fouls and stuff dictate sometimes otherwise, but you kind of look at the aggregate, whether it's a week or 5 games, 10 games, to try and get a number that's suitable. At times it's going to be a little higher. You read the game, and if you need to go for it, you go for it. You can't worry about what tomorrow brings. You just want to get the game tonight. So, but this can the way we've been able to play shorthanded. And I think it is what it is, and a byproduct of who we have.
Wayne.
Hey, Coach, with a young team like Houston, the scrappy on the road, at what quarter could you feel like they were starting to gain some confidence?
I thought early in the third. We played them. Pretty well, into the first quarter. They kind of created some distance in the second, but the third I thought was, where they really started to feel confident, felt like they could, take the game. So just our approach to start the game in the first quarter, and obviously the start of the second half.
and I know you mentioned it earlier before. You say no one feels sorry for you. Everyone's going through it. But with the protocols and lineup changing, just how difficult can it be just to manage that?
I mean, it's challenging. I mean, we talked about it. No one wants to have to go through this. A lot of teams have had to deal with it, and we're trying to manage it as best we can. I'm hoping that there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're kind of coming to the end of this stretch, but you just have to kind of do the best you can and be informed with how the protocols shake out. At times those change, and how those changes affect who we have and who might be available in the testing times. So all of it is taxing, not just on myself, but players, coming back at night to test and do this. But it is what it is. I mean, we've tried to get through this, and hopefully we have, but we still have a game to play. We have a job to do, and tonight I didn't think we did it as well as we should have.
Thank you, Coach.
There's one last question with Josh in the room.
What, in case you don't practice tomorrow, I'd like to ask this now, please. Have you got any guess or inkling as to whether Montrez has, or any of your other players who are in the protocol, might be on the cusp of returning?
I believe, Trez, for example, is close. I don't know the exact status. I think it might be another day or two, but I'm hoping tomorrow we'll have some clarity. And if things go well, hopefully he will get out tomorrow, but I can't say that with certainty.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
How exhausting and frustrating is this one? The second time in 3 games where a team made a superlative shot late to really make the difference.
I mean, it's unfortunate. Kevin Porter made a hell of a shot. Great defense. Sometimes good players make big time shots. So obviously throughout the game, it was tough. But we had other circumstances out there, but it's just a tough one.
Obviously, the shot made the difference in the end, but as you look back on the game, kind of what do you lament about how the way you guys played that you wish could have gone differently?
I mean, there's a bunch of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could have control, and a lot of things that we just couldn't control at the end of the day. I mean, that's the game of basketball. Sometimes it happens like that. We could have been better. I could have been better. I came out really sluggish. It's just tough. It's tough.
I don't know if you've had circumstances like this before. You've had to play this many minutes, but what's it like knowing, you're going to be part of a short rotation and then you lose Davis Bertans and just the workload that you guys are having to deal with right now?
I mean, it's no issue. I mean, you want to be out there as much as you can. The tough part is, knowing that you're going to play a lot of minutes, trying to stay off your feet as much as possible, when you're not playing, to be in the game and, have energy. So.
And what was, different about maybe the offense tonight? You guys have been one of the better offenses in the league going back like 6-7 games.
Honestly, I thought it was fine. I mean, we just didn't hit shots. I can't go 0 for 8. I had a tough night shooting it from 3, but, I'm still confident. I know some of those rim outs and some look good to me. So, and that goes for the rest of the guys. We just had a tough night shooting the ball. If we hit 2 threes, we're not in that situation. So, that's just the silver liner right there. So.
When a team switches so heavily as the Rockets did, what's the best way to counteract that and play up to, aside from hitting shots, I get, to play to the offense's potential?
Just ball movement, player movement, slips to the rim, finding a mismatch and attacking it, or off the switch, just drive them. And I think for the most part, at least from playing it, didn't feel bad. I'll probably watch the film and see how it goes, but. Offensively, I don't think that was the issue. I think it was defensively, and obviously missing, some some big shots. So.
Ava?
You've told us about what it's like to return from protocols and the adjustments that are needed there. But for the guys who are on the floor and who've kind of been playing, do you have to make any adjustments or I guess have any awareness of players who have just come back and it's their first game? Like you have to remember like, oh, right, Raul might not have the same wind he usually does or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I remember when I came out of protocol, I had a rough 3 games following that from a conditioning standpoint, and I had COVID. So, I was just really, really tired. So I don't know how he was, but, that's definitely a situation to look for, especially with a lot of guys getting it and coming back. You're not used to in the NBA season having 5 days off of not doing anything. That's really, really taboo for our career. So it's a challenge. And obviously, our lineup is going to change every single night. It's not an excuse. We got to become prepared and next man up mentality. We're all professionals and we understand, when guys are out, you got to step up. And then when guys come back, it's kind of, you got to figure out and fill out the game again. Cause, from game to game is so different with, who's in, who's out. So.
Neil?
Hey, Kuz, I think in the second half, it looked like you took a slip on the floor. How are you feeling after that? It seemed like you were favoring your right side, maybe.
I had a bad hip. Went to the ground. Yeah, I just didn't feel right. I played through it, but yeah, that's what it was. So.
I think that's it, Kuz. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
First of all, how do you feel coming out of protocol?
It feels good to be able to come out there and play basketball again. I had, I think, 3 days to prepare for the game, after being probably like a week at home without being able to do anything. But I felt good on the court at the beginning. I was a little tired trying to catch my, the rhythm of the game, but I feel good.
Was it just kind of having to sit out and not play, or did you have symptoms you had to get over? What?
I was just a little tired and congested the first couple of days, first 3 days, I think, and then nothing else. But it's just staying at home and not being able to do anything for a week. I live in an apartment. I was doing as much as I could with bands and trying to work out, push-ups, squats, with my body weight. And but it's not the same. So it was harder the first 2 days of practice to get ready for the game than actually the game. And that was the reason I didn't play last game, even I was clear to play. But the symptoms wasn't that bad.
And obviously a tough way for you guys to lose. Just kind of what was your approach on that defensive play, and then how would you describe what happened?
At the end?
Yeah.
We were switching, and I think they set the screen with the guy that I was guarding on purpose to put me on the ball. I think I did as best job as I could. I contested the step back. He's a good player, and he made a great shot. I think if I could come back, maybe I'll make him drive and trying to get him to do something else that he didn't want to do. But I did my best. It's tough to lose that way. And when you're on the ball, I think you feel like you have a little more responsibility. But that's basketball, and he's a great player, and he made a great play.
I know you didn't play in the Chicago game when DeRozan hit his. But even though you guys are professionals and have been through everything, how tough is it to essentially lose for the second time in 3 games on a great shot late in the game like that?
It's tough. I think the Chicago game we played better, and we deserved that win. Not taking anything from them. Today we came back and we did not play great the whole game. We had two stretches that we didn't execute, and they were better than us. But coming back to the game and having that momentum at the end and lose that way, it's tough. I mean, both games were tough losses. even more when you're fighting, a lot of guys with COVID, and Brad today coming out of the game with fouls. So when you fight so hard to get it back in the game and finish that way, it's tough. But like I said before, it's basketball. It's a long league. We have to. I don't think we lost the game on that last possession. I think throughout the game we could have played a little better and not put ourselves in that situation, and we didn't. But we definitely gonna learn from that.
Being the competitor who you are, how were you able to deal with the impatience of not being able to even be in the gym for a week? I can't imagine what that must have
It's
felt like.
hard. I was talking to Coach Wes, and I told him that was the hardest part for me. After I wasn't having any symptoms, and not being able to leave the house and not being able to go work out, watching the games from home, even though I felt fine. That was the toughest part for me, as a basketball player, as a competitor, kind of like having that holding you back from helping the team and from competing, from playing the game. That was tough, but it put things in perspective. Everybody's going through that now. I got some time. I got a little break where we usually don't have it during the season, besides the All-Star break. But it's hard to take something positive, but I think that was the positive for me. But it's very hard to be fine and not be able to compete and practice and do what we love to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After Brad fouled out, was there anything said in the huddle? Was there any message? Anyone speak up? And if so, what was the message?
No, I think we just kept our spirit up. I think not only even before he fall out, I think we were all trying to talk to each other, push each other, and get in a good spirit, even though we were not playing great. And then we got that run at the end, which put us back in the game. But I think it's just, when Brad goes down like that, and everybody else has to step up, and guys have to be more aggressive. The game changes a little bit because he's not out there to make plays for us. So it wasn't a specific thing we said, but we just try to hold our spirit up, because it's tough when your best player fall out in a game where the game is so close.
Kind of building off of what Josh just asked, I know, you mentioned kind of not being able to be in the gym and the little things you could do physically, but mentally, what's it like being in isolation, and just what do you do to pass the time when, you can't be there? And, I know it's tough to not be there, but what do you do? Do you talk to people? How do you get through that mentally?
Luckily my wife was here with her son. So I had a companion, and, we, even though at the beginning we were kind of having to isolate, and I was staying by myself in the room while they were in the living room doing something else. You just try to stay positive, even though it's hard. I think for me, it's finding things to do and not being all day on the TV and not being all day watching shows and movies, because that kind of like, even though you think you're getting rest, this is like stressing you even more, when you're watching that much TV. So I was trying to read, trying to meditate, trying to use the time, eat healthy, and trying to stay healthy, and just counting the days down. But it's hard because you don't know. At the point when I tested positive, I didn't know if it was going to take me 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. It's so unknown, and that's the hardest part, because first day goes by, second day goes by, and then you get some expectations that in 5 days you'll be good, and 5 days go by and you're still positive and you're still having to stay quarantining at home. So, but I think to answer your question, just trying to stay healthy mentally and trying to stay engaged with the team. Even though I wasn't there, I was watching the games, trying to visualize myself in the games, what I would do if I was in this situation or that situation. Kind of got me engaged with the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last question to Neil.
Hey, Joel, on that last play, is the game plan and, strategy from film to kind of give him that shot and give him more space instead of letting him drive?
I mean, you can't prepare to a play like that. You know, at the end of the game, we're just playing basketball. I can't predict what he's gonna do. I have to try to do my best to stay in front of him. It was a tie game, so I didn't want to give him an easy basket, a easy drive. So I backed up a little bit, and he made a great shot. The coverage was to switch on the ball, and I did it. I tried my best, but you don't you don't prepare to a game thinking that the game is going to come down to that last play and you're going to make him drive. That's too specific to work and to prepare for it. But at that moment, I was just playing basketball, and like I said, he made a great shot.
That's fair. And on the technical that you got, was that, more so just of a buildup and frustration that maybe the entire team was feeling today?
Yeah, I got hit in the face on that play. I was a little frustrated for some other calls. I think I got that from, the team was complaining and all that. But I definitely got hit on the face. He didn't see it. I said, it's a foul, and slapped my leg, and he gave me a tech. So if that's a tech, I don't know. But at that moment, in the heat of the game, with all the complaining from everybody else, he called a tech, and that's what it is.
Thanks, Hole.
Yeah.
That should be it. Thank you, Howell.
Thank you.
Appreciate your